Now that the Saharan dust is beginning to dissipate, the heavier tropical rains return. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We're your home for Caribbean weather, and it's great to see you on a Friday. I hope you're doing well. Weekend is here, my friends, and coming up in this video, now that the Saharan dust is beginning to disperse, rain chances will be increasing in a lot of areas for the weekend ahead. We will look at that. I've got your island by island rainfall forecast. We'll deep dive into the tropics. Very active right now in the Eastern Pacific. As we get the video started, Meteo Mundo, sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. Storm season is here. They can offer you free consultations and walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. Go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. The information I want to know, where you're viewing from right now, what the weather has been like in your area. We'll get started. You're looking at our satellite data, the live lightning data here at Meteo Mundo. Current temperatures with that Saharan dust layer, it has been very hot. The humidity has been up in a lot of areas, especially from Haiti to the north and to the west, Jamaica, Cuba, portions of the Cayman Islands, and Jamaica and the Bahamas. Steamy conditions outside. Current Saharan dust as of this late Friday. Brighter colors, your thicker concentration. So now central northwest Bahamas, New Providence, Eleuthera, Grand Bahama, the Bimini area, all the peninsula of Florida, back towards portions of the Yucatan, western Cuba, and Central America. There's still some concentrations of dust farther east, but it is beginning to dissipate, and that will be the trend kind of area-wide. But this is what it looked like yesterday in Kingston, Jamaica. Shelly Ann sent in this photo from Jamaica, and you can just clearly see, it's hard, well, you can't clearly see, that's the point, right? Hardly a cloud in the sky, but you can't really even see the blue because we've got all that dust over the island. Now, it's getting better today, and it will get better over the weekend, but that dust has been really thick over Jamaica. Appreciate Shelly Ann sending in that photo. Let's get started with what's happening right now, and we'll go into that area because we are beginning to see a few thunderstorms fighting that drier dust layer, but we're getting spotty showers right now. In the Cayman Islands, a couple of thunderstorms north and west of Grand Cayman. They'll try and pull over the island. There's at least some cloud coverage out there, even towards Little Cayman and Cayman Brac. Look, there probably won't be a lot of rain, but there could be some locally heavier downpours. It's just whether that goes right over those islands or not. It'll be few and far between, but the opportunity will be there the remainder of this late Friday afternoon. We're also starting to build in some storms in portions of Jamaica. I'll switch over to the visible satellite imagery. You can see those thicker clouds building up a little bit further east today compared to the last couple of afternoons. Western St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, and of course Hanover, Westmoreland parishes. Generally, these storms will build west from the Falmouth area, Montego Bay, Cambridge, Savile-Lamar, Negril, Lucy. Those are your best chance for storms today. Still can't rule out a couple of storms on the northern coastline. Probably going to be dry in Kingston. We've actually seen the temperature come down a bit as some of the clouds have moved in, but it's been hot today. These are your feels like temperatures. Earlier in the day in Kingston, the feels like temperature, or what it really feels like when you step outside, was above 100 degrees Fahrenheit, with an actual air temperature today of right around 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 32 degrees Celsius. Overall, rain chances will improve in Jamaica starting early next week. I'll have more on that coming up. Thunderstorms building over the eastern sides of Cuba at the hour. We're a lot drier right now in the Bahamas, even down to the Turks and the Caicos. I'll bring on back into our enhanced satellite imagery and then our water vapor imagery. The red that you see is the drier air. So there's even more drier air and a bit of dust down towards Grand Turk and the Caicos. The concentration of dust is again more prominent the farther north in the Bahamas that you go. Not bad temperatures for today. Freeport, Lucaya 86, Nassau hit 88, but again, pretty steamy outside. Dew points right now, dew point of 72. That's pretty humid air. Live look outside. Hey, we've got our live cameras here at Meteo Mundo. Now, this is north of Eleuthera, live on this late Friday. Again, you can clearly see a bit of haze. It's not outrageous. It's getting better, but we've had that out there. You're not going to get any rain for today in north of Eleuthera, and the chance for rain in the central and the northwest Bahamas overall the next several days is going to be quite low. Same situation again, live look to Long Island there in the Bahamas. Little bit of haze, little bit of, thin high clouds out there, but a beautiful day. The boating conditions have been fantastic, and that will continue in the Bahamas as well. So drier weather there. trying to get rid of some of that Saharan dust. We're seeing a few thunderstorms develop right now in portions of Hispaniola, mainly on the Dominican Republic side, interior sections just north of Santo Domingo. Now look, the storms in the DR today are going to be very isolated, but where they develop, locally heavy rainfall will persist. So just north of Santo Domingo, but those could backbuild towards Punta Cana or even west towards the Haitian eastern side there, the border. Not expecting a lot of rain in Haiti in general, potentially a couple of thunderstorms there on the far western side of the peninsula. It's going to be a relatively quiet day for my friends in Puerto Rico and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, noting a couple of storms trying to get going right now. When I go back over to the infrared satellite imagery on the far western side of Puerto Rico, noticed one lightning strike there just north of Mayaguez, south of Aguadilla. The other big story is the winds. It's been very breezy out here. Now, again, air quality is improving. The haze is beginning to diminish in the sky, and overall we'll have clearer conditions here in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands over the weekend. That's good for any respiratory sufferers. The concentration of dust is beginning to abate, but winds have been strong, mainly out of the east, 25, 30, even some gusts 35 miles an hour. I can show you what it looked like earlier in the day. This is from R. He's back in Christiansted there on St. Croix, and again, a lot more blue sky there compared to that picture that we saw in Kingston. Generally speaking, the farther east that you go, the Saharan dust layer is again beginning to dissipate faster. A little bit of cloud coverage, a lot of wind. Appreciate R sending in that video. And that will be the case over the weekend for this area, but improving rain chances from time to time as well. Swinging over to the Lesser Antilles, we'll start in the Leeward Islands here. And again, a few spotty showers are possible for today, but mainly it's partly to mostly sunny skies. Temperatures haven't been horrible for today. These are your current temperatures right now. Some upper 80s, St. Martin, right around 90 in St. Bart's as well, and a little bit lower for Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua, back towards Guadeloupe. Again, the opportunity for a couple of localized showers here, but it is very spotty. Haze is still a bit of a story the farther south that you go, but again, is the concentration as much as it was the last couple of days? No. The air is still relatively dry though, so the rain chances are pretty low. Dominica, Martinique into St. Lucia. With our next live camera, live look to Corinth, St. Lucia on the west side of the island, looking back towards the south. Again, a little bit of haze, fair weather clouds moving in, very low on opportunity, not even that much of a breeze there on the west side of St. Lucia. Beautiful day. Wouldn't mind being there one bit. A little bit more cloud coverage. Barbados back towards Grenada. Portions of the Grenadines, especially Trinidad and Tobago, trying to fire up a couple of showers at the hour in this area. If nothing else, it's some thicker cloud coverage, but underneath this, there should be just enough lift in the atmosphere for some rain for portions of Trinidad, Tobago, Grenada. Let me know in the comment section below if you live in these areas, if you've had any of that rain as well. I'm going to skip over the ABC Islands real quick because I want to get off towards the west here. Just talk about what's been happening in portions of Panama, Costa Rica, back towards Nicaragua and Honduras. Again, improving tropical moisture in this area is promoting better showers and storms right now. And these storms are locally heavy. Now, they are a little bit more scattered in the northern sides of Honduras, from San Pedro Sula to La Ceiba. A little bit quieter today so far in the Bay Islands and Belize City. If I bring on the water vapor imagery, you'll see why. The drier air has nudged in just a little bit farther south for today. Now, there's a ton of moisture sitting just off to the south. You give it the weekend into early next week, this will surge back to the north. But now that the air is a little bit drier, it's gotten hot again. I'm not going to rule out a couple of rogue thunderstorms developing close to Utila, Roatan, Guanaja, Belize City, Chechemal for today. Generally north of that, it's not going to happen. The air is too dry right now. Look how hot it's gotten again as the air has dried back out. But again, a little bit of a switch up here where in the short term we've dried out a bit, but still in the longer term, I'm pretty optimistic about more storms returning, especially towards Honduras, Guatemala, and portions of Nicaragua as well. All right, back over to the ABC Islands. Again, few passing clouds. Temperatures haven't been horrible. An opportunity for an isolated shower for today. My friends in the ABC Islands, rain chances will actually get better for tomorrow. And the reason why I wanted to skip that and go in here, because I knew we still had our live camera. Oranjestad, Aruba, what a gorgeous shot. Again, the haze beginning to dissipate, still a thicker layer of high clouds out there. And you can see on the horizon a bit of that haze. And then that wind, that's the other big story. Still 30 to 35 mile an hour winds. Ever since we've had this camera all week here at Oranjestad, it has been an extremely brisk wind in the ABC Islands. But I mean, look at that aqua sea. It's beautiful there along the coast. Let's get into your forecast. Thanks for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing to Meteo Mundo. If you haven't subscribed yet, appreciate hitting that subscribe button for me right now. I do appreciate all of our supporters, including our members. Remember, we now have 2 membership tiers. We've had our supporter tier. That's just 99 cents a month. It's a really small thank you. You want to support me here at the channel. You get custom badges and emojis. Your name is in a different color in all of our live streams. If you want to become a Team MM member, $2.99 a month, you get exclusive access to member shorts. I produce member shorts. I grab my phone. Maybe it's my thoughts of the day, what I've been looking at, things I'm monitoring in the tropics, some behind the scene videos. If you want to be a part of Team MM, hit that join button on the home page here of Meteo Mundo. You can either be a supporter or a Team MM member, and I appreciate those who are supporting the channel in that way. Really does help out, and I appreciate you guys in that support. All right, let's get into the forecast. So again, we're going to start to replace some of this drier Saharan dust layer that's been in play with more tropical moisture, mainly coming out of our monsoon trough over Central America and portions of South America. Now, before we get too far into the forecast, we got ourselves 2 red cherries in the Eastern Pacific. It's unbelievable. This one has gone gangbusters in just the last 24 hours, where now it's overtaken our area that's been out here for the last several days as far as percent development chances. This area west now has an 80% chance of development. This area east has a 70% chance of development. Both are invest areas. Both are likely to develop at least into tropical depressions, but we could get the 2nd and 3rd named storms of the East Pacific season already sometime over the weekend or early next week. You can clearly see all of the moisture that spreads, and it is beginning to lift north and build back east. And that's going to be the trend here in the Western Caribbean in the coming days. And even out east, more moisture-laden air will begin to move back into portions of the Lesser Antilles, and especially the Windward Islands. So let's get into your island by island rainfall forecast over the next couple of days. I do want to start off in the Western Caribbean because this is going to be the most active weather. Now, it's going to take a couple days to build in, but we are going to get more widespread healthy rain beginning to move in through all of Central America, eventually lifting north into portions of the Yucatan, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and potentially down the road, Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas. But it is the Caribbean to begin with the healthier rain chances. Some of this should clip the ABC Islands as well, at least in the short term. And then down the road too, you can see now that the Saharan dust layer is gone, nothing is extremely concentrated here in the Lesser Antilles, but improving rain chances. We're fast moving showers. It's not like we're going to get a ton of rain every day, but your rain chance from Anguilla all the way down to TNT will begin to come back up starting tomorrow and probably build in most areas into early next week. That's the same situation I see for the US and British Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico as well, where rain chances will improve again. Should knock down some of that dust. You know, it's interesting when you catch these showers with that dust, you look at your cars, you have a layer of dust that's left over after some of that rain. But again, the dust is beginning to abate in these spots. But getting back over here, this gets to be an interesting forecast because again, I'm showing you the GFS model, which has been very aggressive in the opportunity to try and develop this tropically late next week. Now, regardless of that, and again, we've talked about the bias or the inherent error that the GFS has in the Western Caribbean this early in the season, taking localized convection and just really making it much more of a stronger tropical system than what it typically ends up being. Regardless of that, this is deep moisture coming out of the East Pacific, lifting into the Caribbean, and I think we're going to get some widespread heavier rain. This is just the next 3 days. We'll take a look at the forecast for the week ahead coming up, and you're going to see what I'm talking about here. But locally heavy rainfall returning, and again in the East Pacific, you have your 2 opportunities for named storms coming up very quickly. Farther north, we're going to be drier, the Bahamas included in that. So here's your island by island rainfall forecast. Again, paltry rain chances over the weekend, but great outdoor weather for all of my friends in the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos. Rain chances will improve again beginning on Monday. You will see this generally in this area. Isolated rain over the weekend, better chances on Monday. Now, I'm still, relatively high in the rain chance in Belize. I know we dried out a bit today. That boundary between the moisture-laden air and the dry air will be right over Guatemala, North Honduras, southern Belize. We'll see how it plays out, but we should get some storms each and every afternoon and should see better rain chances returning late Sunday and Monday. Cancun and Cozumel's rain chances aren't great, but they'll get a little bit higher on Monday. Here's Jamaica, 20 tomorrow, 30 Sunday, many dry hours and locations, but up to a 60% chance for storms on Monday. We still have our large wave and strong wind advisory. The winds will continue to be a story here as well. The Dominican Republic's rain chances build up to a 50% chance on Monday. Puerto Rico has isolated rain chances over the weekend, but then we kick it up a notch on Monday up to a 60% chance. Improving rain chances in the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Bermuda's rain chances are best over the weekend, then drier on Monday. There's your stair-step build of the rain chance in places like Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis. And again, air quality is improving. Surf and sea conditions aren't bad, except in and around the generalized showers and storms. Antigua Barbuda looks to be fairly wet. Again, is this going to be extremely heavy rainfall? No, but higher rain chances with passing showers. Montserrat's rain chance looks pretty good. Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique kind of wedged in between, some moisture-laden air north and a little bit better chance off to the south. St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, your best chance for rain is tomorrow, and then a little bit drier to kick off Sunday and into Monday. Same situation for Barbados. We're going to catch some showers there over the Bridgetown area, about a 40% chance for tomorrow. Not bad Sunday and Monday. Again, sea conditions from time to time on the eastern and northern side of Barbados could be kicked up a bit, so keep an eye out for that. Grenada's rain chance is 40 tomorrow, then 30 on Sunday and Monday, 50 in Trinidad, Tobago, 30 Sunday, Monday. Good rain chances, Suriname and Guyana. There's your better rain chance for Nueva Esparta and the ABC Islands tomorrow. Should be a little bit drier Sunday, Monday. We'll see how that big blob of moisture plays out in the Western Caribbean, whether it can get as far east as Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao into mid next week. Now, I mentioned the winds. Again, it's a huge story, 30, 35 mile an hour winds here. And they're going to be quite prominent western central sides of the Caribbean for the week ahead. That's going to build your sea heights to that 8, 9, 10 foot range, at least 2 to 3 meters in a lot of spots, which is probably why we're going to continue with the large wave and the strong wind advisory, especially for the southern coast of Jamaica. I've noticed small craft advisories for portions of the Cayman Islands, for coastal Belize, for Curacao, again, Barbados included in that, portions of the Lesser Antilles in general. These are the areas with a lot of wind. Turks and Caicos, Bahamas, Chef's Kiss, enjoy it. Your marine forecast looks fantastic for the weekend ahead. European rainfall totals. Look south, my friends. Watch this build through the next several days, and it just gains latitude, if you will, all of that moisture. So we'll start to see this really begin to improve. Flooding rains are going to be a concern in Costa Rica and Panama, and eventually even into Nicaragua as well. Some areas here on the European model, 8 to 10 inches of rain, maybe up to 200 and 250 millimeters. It's going to be rough there. This is the GFS model. Again, in some areas, slightly even higher. If I bring on the GFS here and we take a look at these query points, that's over a foot of rain near eastern Nicaragua and Honduras, right? And you notice, again, even towards Belize City, we build in better rain chances over the next 5 days as well. Everything is going to lift to the north. Now, there's a pretty sharp cutoff from Belize towards Quintana Roo, but eventually we'll get higher rain totals there. Same situation here. This is all trying to build towards Jamaica, but right now, at this point in time, there's a big difference between what they could see offshore of Nicaragua and Honduras to Jamaica and even towards Grand Cayman at the hour, but improving higher rain totals there, improving rain chances overall late, well, not late into the forecast I talked about, but early into next week. All right. I don't want to do that yet. We're not done. Let's get into the model. By the way, real quick, before I do that, I did want to note that there was an earthquake here off of Martinique and Dominica as well, especially off the Martinique coastline. Let's see if I can query this real fast. Yeah. How far was it away? About 32 kilometers north and west of Martinique. If anyone felt it, just let me know in the comments section below. I always keep an eye on everything, and I just noted that. Now we've got our typical, situation here near Puerto Rico and portions of the Dominican Republic. There was another 4.1 there, a little bit to the west of Punta Cana. So again, if you've felt any rumbles, let me know. I keep an eye on things like earthquakes as well. Anything significant, I always come on and talk about. All right. Back at it to look at what's going to be happening here in the coming week. Again, we have discussed for the last several videos that the GFS model is still robust, a potential tropical development in the Western Caribbean late next week, trying to get into the Gulf of Mexico. The European model so far is not coming along for the ride. The other thing about this, though, is that these areas of low pressure trying to develop on the GFS ensemble members are even closer to the Central American coastline, which actually, again, would limit the opportunity to develop it, because if these centers of circulations can't get into the open waters and really begin to ramp up, you get what I think is going to happen, and that's just a heck of a lot of rain, right? Widespread tropical downpours with a lot of wind, but no true center of circulation to give yourself a depression or a storm. I remind you that you don't need there to be a tropical depression or a weak tropical storm to get some big time flooding impacts and a lot of wind. And I expect very active weather for the Western Caribbean coming up through the rest of the week. Make sure I bring on the model timeline here so you guys can see this. So again, over the weekend, the building rain chances, and then especially towards mid next week, this all lifts north, where Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, more of the Yucatan, all of Central America, Cuba, and eventually even north into the Bahamas get into the act. But we're not done there. There will be better moisture coming back into the Lesser Antilles, especially into the Windward Islands. So Barbados and Grenada and Trinidad and Tobago will also start to see a better chance, not only for rain, but some heavier downpours to come along for the ride. Friends, it's that time of the year we're getting more active. And again, if we're trying to develop any broad spin here, it's really even on the GFS model trying to hug the coast, and the European model really keeps a lot of that into the East Pacific. And again, in the East Pacific, I mean, this is a sloppy mess here, but you could have one or two named storms in the East Pacific in the next couple of days. We'll see how it is. But again, waves of energy off that monsoon trough just keep things very active there, but also finally getting a little bit of a north lift in latitude here with some of this tropical moisture, which is going to have more direct impacts to our western zones. Now we get into this. You can follow us across all social media, Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. You want to send me a picture, a video, just like R and Shelly Ann did for today, and I appreciate that. It's myMediaMundo@gmail.com. Please remember that Media Mundo is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. Storm season is here. Hail damage, wind damage, tropical storms, and hurricanes. They can walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. Go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. You have a specific question about the forecast, feel free to drop in the comment section below. I'm happy to answer that. While you're down there, thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Friends, have a great rest of your day. I'm back soon with your latest forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas, right here for you at Media Mundo.